welcome to Hidden Gems with Amirah. I'm your host Amirah, and in today's episode, I'm going to be taking you around to some awesome places here in Burlington. We're going to be looking at some planes, trying some beer, and watching some races. You ready? We are here with someone very special, Greg Anders. How are you doing today?
We're doing great. We're
Yes.
facing some weather challenges and some other challenges, but we're doing great.
Yes, thank you, Washington.
Yeah.
Yes. So can you tell me a little bit about your personal history with planes, how you got started, your interest?
So I got into aviation by being in an aviation family. So my dad was Air Force and then in NASA, and so I grew up in a flying world, and I got to watch my dad fly the T-38s and all kinds of stuff when I was quite young. And then we moved up to upstate New York. I started taking flying lessons when I was there. Then went to the Air Force Academy, took some flying lessons there as well, but then went to pilot training right afterwards.
Yes.
So the year I went to pilot training was the year that Top Gun came out, so we all wanted to be Tom Cruise, we all wanted to fly fighters. So the museum was started by my dad, who had his own personal brush with history. He was in the Apollo 8 mission back in 1968, took the iconic Earthrise picture. And so December of 68, Apollo 8 flew and it was a successful mission. NASA got a telegram and said, "Thank you, Apollo 8, you saved 68." And we try to tell that story here. My father was very successful in the military, very successful in his government work, and then very successful in business. So he used that financial success to start the Heritage Flight Museum and kind of build a core of flying aircraft that tell a good story. And so that's really what we're about, is trying to honor veterans, the people that served in our military, and we're trying to keep history alive. The fun part about my mother that really stamps this museum is when you go through the 68 experience, one of the items in our archive is the calendar, her personal calendar from 1968. So there's a very personal touch to the 68 experience. As you go through, you can kind of see what a young woman trying to raise 5 kids at the time and trying to support her husband through this incredibly interesting, difficult, dangerous pursuit of flying a man to the moon.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for your time, and thank you for your service
I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Yes, it was amazing getting to talk to you, and I won't keep your time too much because I know we got other fun things to see today.
Perfect.
But it was amazing getting to talk to you.
Well, thank you for coming out. Thank you for your support as well. We really appreciate it.
Always. It was lovely to meet you.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Take care.
You too. Here we are at the Heritage Flight Museum, specifically in the 68 experience. In this part of the museum, we can learn all about year 68 and the cool things that came about. Something that is very obvious about 1968 is that it was groovy. But what's also important to remember is that during this year, there were a lot of hard things going on. One of the things that touched me personally was the Martin Luther King exhibit over here. And if you've noticed on the wall over here, there's the actual Anders family calendar. You get all 12 months of the year from 1968. It's a very cool insight into the lives of the Anders family. And then the technology that was born in this time, we have typewriters, calculators, cameras, and Polaroids. That is so cool. And now here we are at the end of the year when the Apollo 8 took off and made history. are with our friend Will Stein and Hank, not on camera currently, but they have been our wonderful tour guides today.
We keep history alive, specifically aviation history,
Yeah.
but also military history as well. We salute our veterans at all times.
Yes.
We have to remember that we were founded by an Apollo 8 astronaut who started out as an Air Force pilot,
Yeah.
who was the son of a naval officer. So we have military roots going way back.
Yes.
But around here, it's airplanes
Yes.
specifically. In the museum, my favorite item, we're standing next to it, the PT-13, the Stearman, because my dad flew these in World War II. This is what he learned to be a pilot.
Do you mind telling me a little bit about this plane? The history
I
behind
don't
it?
mind at all. This is a PT-13. It was a trainer, and the PT stood for primary trainer. This was one of the first planes that the new pilot would ever see or fly.
Wow.
Example, my father was a World War II Navy pilot, and this is what he learned to fly in.
That's awesome. Yeah, you were telling me these are also made out of wood.
Yes.
And they have holes at the side of here, so that way if water got into them.
Yeah, it's kind of
Have it
a neat little thing because a wooden propeller, like anything wood, will absorb moisture.
Yeah.
And they're so finely balanced that any moisture within the prop could easily throw the whole thing out of whack. And so there are little holes in a wooden propeller at each tip
Yeah.
to help facilitate the egress of water.
Yes. And fun fact, I learned earlier that there is actually fabric lining this plane, and you can actually see the detail when you look closely.
This is all cloth that's stitched down to the ribs. Then it's covered with a shellac type material that's called dope, and that gives it a hard shell finish and also stretches the fabric nice and tight. Your student typically sat up front, the instructor in the back.
Okay.
And that was the same with these other aircraft, like the PT-13 we just talked about.
Wow. Very awesome.
Well, the museum is expanding.
Yes.
Okay, we're going to be almost double in size,
Yeah.
and that project will be complete by next season.
Yeah. Perfect.
And we continue to grow along with the city. Our website is heritageflight.org. We're there, and we can also be found on all the popular social media sites.
Awesome. All right, you guys, there are many other fun things that we have to go watch. Thank you so much for your time. It was so fun talking to you. You ready? I had so much fun here at the Heritage Flight Museum today. I want to extend a big thank you to the Anders family for having us out. I learned so much, and I got to see some really cool planes being flown by some really talented people. This was truly a one-of-a-kind experience. You ready to go to the next place?